And good Tuesday, everybody. Hope wherever you are, it's a great day. The sun is out, the birds are chirping, and somewhere soon you're heading to the golf course. And if you're stuck in the Northeast, apologies, but maybe this will help you get to that place with a smile on your face. Welcome into a new show we've got here on the Trey Wingo Network called Golf Live. We are going to be here every Tuesday throughout the golf season, 4 o'clock Eastern, getting you up to speed on everything you need to know in the game of golf worldwide. We'll also have great guests, and it'll be myself and, ladies and gentlemen, the great Justin Ray, as I refer to him as the Tiger Woods of golf researchers. Justin, this has been a long time in the making for the two of us. Before we came on the air live here on Twitter or X and YouTube, we were sort of reminiscing about how we sort of got this together. And you reminded me that when we first got the U.S. Open rights in 2010, we were riding around in a golf cart at Pebble Beach thinking, yeah, this could work for us.
Yeah, Texas boy, went to college in the Midwest. It was my first day of my life in the state of California. And I hop on a golf cart with Trey Wingo and ride around Pebble Beach and go check out what Tiger and Phil and VJ and Dustin Johnson, all the world's best, were doing that day. Long time coming, as you said, my friend. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It is, and we can't wait to get started. And again, for those that are watching live, please drop in comments at the chat at the end of the show. We're going to get to some of those comments, and we'll respond to them in time. Our producer, Duncan, will be a part of the show as well, even though he's probably terrified that I just mentioned his name. But we've got a lot to get into, and we'll get into what happened last weekend at the Cognizant Classic, and was it the last weekend for the Cognizant Classic? But we are here, Justin, and it's Bay Hill week. And before we had elevated events and the tour was fractured with Live Golf, and there's some news there, which we will get into, in my mind, I always broke down the PGA Tour schedule like, well, there are the four majors. And then there are the things that are pseudo majors, like the Players Championship and the Tour Championship. And then there are the really high level PGA Tour events like the Memorial and Bay Hill. And to me, Bay Hill at Arnold's tournament has always been a really, really special event. It always felt like a signature event. And it does feel like it's really the beginning of, okay, we've been through the California swing. Now we're really getting into the meat of it. And you can tell by the players that are going to be on the field and are in the field rather, and on the course this weekend.
Yeah, I'll add to it. Having Mr. Palmer on the 72nd green there to greet the champion was always an awesome touch, and miss seeing that the last 10 years or so. But the legacy remains, and it's an outstanding event. You mentioned the field, signature field, top 50 in ties. I refuse to say make a cut. It's not a cut to me. I call it a snip.
No.
Not a cut, it's a snip.
It's a procedure. It's not a surgery. It's a procedure.
Yeah, you talked about kind of like the prestige of the event, and part of it to me, the appeal is that we get to some more difficult testing golf courses. Bay Hill is a course that statistically kind of tests every part of a player's game. It's a ball striking exam with really penalizing rough. Last year, if you hit it in the rough, you hit the green 42% of the time. You hit it in the fairway 76% of the time. That's a pretty enormous reward for hitting your drive straight. And just because more players are going to miss the green regulation because there are difficult long iron shots, play around the green is more important. Russell Henley led the field in strokes gained around the green in his win there last year. If you go back since 2020, the only tournament with a higher average score to par among winners of all the events on the PGA Tour schedule, including the majors, is the U.S. Open. It's the only one with so you've seen some numbers. I think it was Tyrrell Hatton that won at 4 under par, single digits for Scotty Scheffler when he won a couple of years ago. So it's going to be it's a good test. There's a lot of memorable holes. There's some not terrific golf holes, but it's an amazing field. The weather shouldn't be too much of a factor, and it's going to be a great week ahead. We talked about some of the top players in the world having a lot of success there. That kind of starts and ends with Scotty Scheffler, right? Who's won it twice in the last 3-4 years.
Do we have that graphic? Duncan, can you throw up that graphic that Justin put out on Twitter of just how impressive Scotty Scheffler's run has been here? It's really remarkable.
Yeah, fantastic on the par fives is really where you have to make your hay here. For the most part, winners here are going to be, if you can play the threes and fours and 2 over, 3 over for the week, where you're really going to make a difference is on the par fives. And that's where Tiger ran away with it when he won this thing 8 times over the course of his career. But not just Scotty Scheffler having great success here. Rory McIlroy obviously won here. I think it was 2019. He's had some good weeks here. And he's coming off 2 straight events where his approach play numbers were really, really good, something that was a little bit shaky at times over the second half of last season. So it's going to be a great week. It's always a good tournament, as you mentioned, the strength of the field, the grandeur of being there at Arnold's place with his name everywhere. It's going to be a great week.
It is, and it's funny you mentioned the par fives. And oh, by the way, we'll have a special guest joining us in just a little bit. Jim Furyk, U.S. Open champion, the only man with multiple rounds below 60 in the PGA Tour's history, will be joining us in a few minutes, talking about his debut in the booth as he's working for Golf Channel and NBC. But you mentioned the par fives at Bay Hill, and it's funny because the 16th is probably one of the easiest par fives on tour, yet we still have all these problems with people scoring well at Bay Hill. And I think that speaks to just how much of a true test of golf this course is for the players.
Kind of the signature trait of some of those holes to me is the length of the par threes and like the
Yeah.
demand to hit par three approaches that are anywhere between 180 and up to like 220 230, and the par three distances kind of resemble that closer to a US Open than week in week out on the PGA Tour. So that's one of the things that you can look at if you're looking to make a wager, look for a lead here going into the week. Really successful long iron players tend to have great. That's typically true everywhere. If you think about the
Right.
top of the world ranking, the strokes gained approach leaders looks a lot like the official world golf ranking week in and week out. But it's especially true here, and it's been an extremely valuable trait to have over the last several years when it comes to players contending at Bay Hill.
It certainly has. And, so all of that being said, you just talked about Scotty Scheffler's numbers. Obviously, with the way he's played, he's had a win. He's had a couple of top tens already. Then he sort of had an odd week. But do you look at him right now as the favorite going into this week at Bay Hill?
Unquestionably so. You have to at this juncture. The big question with him is the weird Thursday versus the rest of the week trend we've seen.
Which, by the way, used to be Rory's issue when he was the number one player in the world. Like Rory, if he could just lop off Thursday, he would have won 20 more times. But
someone just tell Scotty it's Friday morning when he goes out and
Exactly.
plays that first round. His last, I think it's 3 or 4 tournaments. He's 7 over par on Thursday, and that includes the weather shortened first round at Riviera, and 53 under par the rest of the week. It's a complete Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation turning it around. So, God help everybody else if Scotty figures Thursday out, because he's tough to beat even when he spots the field 9, 10 shots like he did at Pebble Beach a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's just a 60 stroke difference. I mean, really, what difference could that possibly make? So we have Scotty Scheffler playing well. Obviously, it's a big event to ramp people up before the players the next week. But it also has some juice in it, in that it looks like Justin Thomas after that back surgery, and we had him on a episode of Straight Facts Homie talking about his recovery from that. He's been participating in TGL, which, Justin, you're a big part of. It looks like he's ready to tee it up at Bay Hill. What do you think the expectations are for Justin as he returns from that micro disc surgery?
Nothing like easing yourself back into professional
Right.
golf, with a nice little Bay Hill signature event, one of the tougher tests on tour. Oh, and TPC Sawgrass is right around the corner, and you got about a month and change till Augusta National. It's not exactly kind of the ease ramp upward into the season starting for JT, but it was great to see him at TGL the other night for Atlanta Drive. Just as him back in action, he did hit a few stray shots. He looked like a guy who was working his way back from being. I didn't mean to say back. The pun there.
It worked. See, that's the genius of you, Justin. You didn't even mean to.
Unintentional pun there, but no, it was good to see him back in any form, in any action. It'd be, I think, a great goal for him to play all 4 rounds this week. Get through the snip, as I call it, not quite the cut, but always good to see one of the top players, top American players, back out in action. And if you're going to have a back surgery, that's a precarious sentence to say for anybody, especially a professional golfer. The timing of when he had it and when he was able to sit out and rehab, he's still going to be able to compete in the biggest championships in 2026, which is great.
Yeah, just good to see him back out there, and we'll see him work his way back into form, and we'll see what holds up for this weekend. Look, we've had crazier things happen, but to make the snip, I think, would be a great start for JT back on tour. So we're having this discussion about Bay Hill, which is ahead. This is, of course, after the weekend of the Cognizant Classic. And who knows if it was the last Cognizant Classic, otherwise known as the Honda Classic, all those years, with the Brian Rollup soon to be making an announcement about the new tour schedule going forward. And it was really a wild weekend. In football, more games are lost than won, and I think that's a thing that most people would agree on. And it kind of felt like that happened to Shane Lowry over the weekend. 3 up with 3 to play, and then the bear trap comes and bites him where no one wants to be bitten. Makes a couple of double bogeys, and Nico Echeverria comes away with the win. I want to be clear, Nico Echeverria did what he had to do. Congratulations to him. But boy, it sure felt like this was a tournament that Shane Lowry had 1.5 hands on the trophy, and somehow, fittingly, he dropped it in the water.
just one of the more inexplicable 30-minute stretches in a long time for a top player I think I've seen on a Sunday or any other day of the week. I mean, you look at the statistics throughout the week too. He's basically leading the field in every ball striking statistic.
Everything.
68, 69 holes, and then just a couple of stray, like really stray shots. If you look at like the shot chart of all the different tee shots throughout the week, at that 16th, that one that Shane hit with, what was he, 200 or 300 or something like that, it's so far removed from everything else. It was just so unexplainable. And look, a little bit of a break for Echeverria as well. That 17th tee shot, you could tell his reaction after he missed hitting it in the water by about what, a foot and a half, and
correct,
aspirated. You could see all the emotion come out of him when that cleared the water. So right place, right time. You got to play great the entire week to ever put yourself in that position. But really one that Shane Lowry is going to look back on. And look, the most impressive thing of the whole week to me was that he went and immediately spoke to the media after that happening. It's the steam is still coming out of his ears. He's still trying to, he's reacting immediately, viscerally from that happening. And he stands up to the media, answers all the questions, was forthright. I was really impressed by that. Just kudos to Shane for doing that. And then he spun it positive moving forward. Hey, one of the great things about the PGA Tour, I'm going to be teeing it up at Bay Hill in a few days. I've played well there over the last several years. He was very positive about it, which I think that bodes well for him, obviously, this week and moving forward the rest of the Florida swing.
Well, it's just so weird. Anybody that watched him make everything at Bethpage at the Ryder Cup. And then, he started this year also playing on the DP Tour and had a similar sort of collapse down the stretch. So you see a guy who's won an Open in Ireland, or Northern Ireland rather, and that he did what he did and has been a stalwart on the Ryder Cup. Golf is hard, okay? Yeah. It's freaking hard. And I think what we're seeing from Shane Lowry when he couldn't finish with 3 up, 3 to play, and then see that same guy close everybody out at the Ryder Cup under the most difficult circumstances imaginable just tells you how hard it is to be consistently good at this game.
Yeah, winning a golf tournament is one of the most difficult things to do in sports, and it was laid out right in front of us again on Sunday afternoon at PGA National.
And then it was a hell of a week for Echeverria. Not only did he get the win, I think his third on the PGA Tour, but he closed on his first house in the week as well. And he had told his wife that we do this, we're getting a dog. So he gets the house, the trophy, and apparently a dog all in one weekend. There are worse things that can happen.
Week, does he regret that decision?
We'll find out, especially if it's a yapper. Well, we'll have him on the show and figure it out. So again, we're in the middle of the Florida swing here. We're really excited about things ramping up this week at Bay Hill. Obviously, heartbreak for Shane Lowry at Cognizant, but again, congratulations to Nico Echeverria, and we'll see what happens with him going forward with the confidence of another tour win, a house, and potentially a dog. And you'd think that would be enough to discuss, right? But we have so much more to get to, including some very interesting comments from Jon Rahm about why he hasn't done what everybody else has done when it comes to playing on the LIV Tour and trying to maintain their DP World Tour status. You'll want to hear what he has to say, because I don't think it came out the way he thought it came out, for lack of a better term. We'll get into that. But when we come back after the break, we are excited to be joined by Mr. Sub 60 on the PGA Tour. We'll be making his broadcast debut for the Golf Channel and NBC in the booth at Bay Hill, and then, of course, subsequently at the Players. Jim Furyk will join us when we come back. Stay with us. Golf Live is rolling with you on a Tuesday afternoon. All right, good people, I need a small favor from you here. If you're watching this and you're enjoying it, hit that like button on YouTube, repost it on X or Twitter, and leave a comment wherever you're listening from. It really does help the show grow. Leave a comment. I read them sometimes. I probably shouldn't, but I do. We all have guilty pleasures. And make sure you subscribe to both channels, Trey Wingo and Trey Wingo Golf, and hit the bell so you know when something new drops. We're building some really special things and doing it the right way, and I need you to stay on top of it. Do these things, and we'll all grow together. And welcome back to Golf Live on a Tuesday afternoon. We'll be here every Tuesday going forward. Glad you're with us, Trey Wingo, Justin Ray. As we said in the top of the show, it is Bay Hill week, Arnold's tournament, and we are delighted to be joined now on Golf Live by former U.S. Open champion, former U.S. Senior Open champion, and the only man in the history of the PGA Tour with 2 sub-60 rounds on his resume, Jim Furyk. Jim, thanks for being with us this morning or this afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself? Great to be with you. This is the maiden voyage, right?
This is
Oh,
this is the one. So we had to bring out the big guns. We had to bring out
congrats.
we had to bring out a Steelers fan, and we had to bring out a U.S. Open champion to make sure people took us seriously.
There
So
you go.
we appreciate you being with us. First of all, before we get into anything else, you are going to be making your broadcast debut this week, doing work with Golf Channel and NBC for Bay Hill, and then subsequently at the Players Championship. How did that all come about?
Well, I've done a few days here and there throughout my career. I was hurt, had some surgery back in '04. Did a couple days at the Players Championship here in my hometown. Did a couple days out in Hawaii at Kapalua. One year I was not in the field, but I had a home out there. Absolutely, one of my favorite places in the world. And last year I did a little work for the Champions Tour. I peeked in the Ponte Vedra, sat with my good buddy Paul Azinger, did a day with the Allied Championship at Warwick Hills, an event that I've won in the past, and had some fun, kind of threw some feelers out there and started talking to the folks at the Golf Channel. And we kind of came up with starting at API and Players and giving it a kind of a 2 week trial, see how I like it, see how they like me, kind of figure things out and go from there. But for right now, I'm just trying to focus on these two events, the 6 days that I get a chance to work and watch some golf. And I'm excited to be in the booth with Terry Gannon, Steve Sands, Kurt Byram, all guys that I know very well and great professionals. So it'll be a good team to work with. And I'll see how it goes. See if I like it. And again, I've had some friends that hop in and they're just naturals. I think Kevin Kisner does an amazing job. He's a natural at it.
Absolutely.
I've had some folks that have hopped in and have struggled. So just go see and have some fun with it and hopefully you know, I guess hopefully some personality comes out. I was always really, really quiet on the golf course, always pretty stoic. Always had folks tell me that, hey, you got to smile a little bit out there. And so I'm a guy that likes to have fun and enjoy myself. And so hopefully that personality comes out on TV.
Of that, I have no doubt. And the guys you mentioned, all three of them know them very well. You'll do great with those guys. They're absolutely awesome. So you are obviously a meticulous player. You are someone that very much prepares to play golf. What has your preparation been like to sort of see it from the other side?
Are you going to grade me here, Trey?
Not at all. This is a grade-free, stress-free. We are
Yeah.
having fun environment. So I'm just curious what your preparation was like.
I think that's something I think about. I was asked that once before, and I think when I first went out on the PGA Tour, I felt like I was preparing well. But then I'd look over and I'd see a veteran like Tom Kite, and I'd be like, he's working on something there. I have no idea what he's doing, and I'd kind of go over and ask some questions and try to get better. And I think a lot of that comes with experience. Your preparation, what needs to be done, comes with experience. Um, I've been in my mind going over the golf course at Bay Hill. I've been watching a little bit more golf than I usually do, trying to get a feel for the flow of the telecast. Kind of looking down a field list right now, trying to get comfortable with maybe a few of the younger players that I don't know very well. I mean, I've been involved in a lot of President's Cups, a lot of Ryder Cups. The top name players, the guys that have been around for the last 5 years and played on those teams. I'm very comfortable with their game, their style, who they are as a player and a person. But there'll be some younger players that, you mentioned earlier in your, Echeverria, you had Jacob Bridgman win a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
Guys that, I watched and I got to see their game a little on TV, but not really, maybe won't know their strengths and weaknesses as well as I would say, my Ryder Cup team, for instance. And so just kind of going through that a little bit and looking at the weather, looking at what we're going to see out there wind-wise, direction, how the golf course may play. Just in some senses, preparing a little bit like I would as a player, but then also trying to kind of think ahead and get my ducks in a row as an announcer.
Well, if you're dealing with data, believe me, no one is better than the guy that I do this show with, Justin Ray.
All
He
right.
has he knows more about golf than the rest of us will probably forget for the rest of our lives, or it's the
All
other way
right.
around. He'll forget more than we know. That makes more sense. So Justin, I believe you have some data here for Jim.
Well, I wanted to ask Jim, and first of all, thank you. You're selling me way too high to U.S. Open champion, and who I'm
No, I'm
very
not.
happy talking to. There's one man in the history of golf who has won the U.S. Open by 3 or more strokes and the U.S. Senior Open by 3 or more strokes. Do you know who that is?
It's probably me.
Correct.
Bingo!
Not Jack, not Arnie, not Gary Player, not Hale Irwin. It is Mr. Jim Furyk, the only man to win both of those U.S. Opens by 3 shots or more.
All right.
There you go.
See,
At least I
there's
picked
nothing he
myself.
doesn't know. There is nothing this guy doesn't know.
Yeah.
Um, how has the transition for you been from, it just wasn't that long ago. You were in real serious contention at the Players, hit that unbelievable shot on 18 that you walked in. How has it been the transition from considering yourself a player to understanding, well, okay, I'm now just sort of this kind of player, and maybe I have a career in golf in this side of it now?
Yeah, I think my career, when I turned 50, I was still pretty healthy. I kind of hit the ground running on the Champions Tour, won my first two events, won my first US Senior Open. And at that point, I was really starting to battle with some injuries with my back, my hip. I had a full hip
Ugh,
replacement last year. And I
I know
realized
that
that
feeling.
I'm close to being, healthy and say, I'm never going to say 100%, but I'm close to feeling good, about my power, about my strength and hitting the ball. But um, yeah, I would say that presently I'm definitely not the player that I was 3 or 4 years ago. And that's something you have to accept as a player, as a person. It's something I'm still building, working to get healthier. I work on my game as well. But, there's a lot of other things I'm interested in as well. I practiced and worked as hard, or maybe not VJ Singh, but as hard as anyone else in the game. I probably worked as hard as and gave it everything I had for 30 years and every ounce I had for 30 years to squeeze everything I could out of my career. And I'm interested in a few other things right now. I started a golf course design team. We're now on building our third golf course in the Bahamas. And I love the game. I feel like I have a lot to give back to it, and I think it's a natural progression to want to kind of maybe give TV a try. And as I said, I've had some friends that have been natural at it and have had a really good time. And I'm guarded. I have folks that say, "Hey, I
Yeah,
think you'd be good at this," but you never know. There's never really a
yeah.
way to practice. They just kind of, my way of saying is they're going to throw me in the deep end and hope I can swim and see how it goes next week. But I'm excited for the opportunity. And as I said, I look at the folks that I get to work with. Tommy Roy's producing the show. We talked about Terry Gann and Steve Sands, Kurt Byron, but I got Roger Maltby down on the ground, Smiley, Bones. So it's really a good group of folks. And I think more than that, being part of that team, being part of something a little bigger and putting the show together and giving the fans out there, some fun, some excitement, I think is something I was really interested in.
Before Justin asks the next question, you mentioned Tommy Roy, and I got to say, for 6, 7 years, I covered the U.S. Open, and ESPN and NBC joint coveraged it. And Tommy Roy would get up before we got there for the week and have this big meeting. We're all together and talk about this. And he said one of the greatest things anybody has ever said to me in any production meeting. He said, "Remember, we are not playing a tournament this week. We are playing our national championship, and you need to treat it like that." And I was like, whoa, that guy gets it. Like, yeah, I got chills when he told me that. I was like, yes, let's go. Let's get this thing started. Tommy is the absolute best. So I just
He is.
want to put that out there.
Tommy's
It's unbelievable.
Tommy brings an intensity to everything he does, like Tiger Woods brought intensity to the golf course. I'll say that.
I've been around for a while, and Tommy produced a Super Bowl when I was in grade school. So he's that's the one analogy I can give you to say the experience is there. You're in great hands this week, and Terry and Steve, they're all the best to work with. I'm glad you mentioned your course design business that you started out on. What's your favorite aspect of golf course design? What's the thing you've kind of gained most from the beginning of that process?
Well, it's been another learning experience as well. But honestly, I like being out in the field. I like being out in the dirt. Um, trying to put something from two dimensions into three is very, very difficult. And I have a much greater appreciation for the golf courses and the great ones that I've played. But I think really being out there in the dirt, making the tweaks, the adjustments, coming up with ideas. Again, I'll go back to working with a team, because in order for it to work, working with your shapers and the guys on the machinery and the communication aspect of it all, dealing with the supers, the owners that have this grand vision of a creation as well. I've just really enjoyed being a part of it, and I think having the most nervous I think I ever was opening day. I renovated a golf course here in my hometown of Jacksonville, the Glen Kernan Club, and I'm a member there, and I know so many people that are members there. And opening that, I mean, if you
No
just,
pressure.
I was nervous to open
Yeah.
one in Port St. Lucie, but I don't live there. I don't hear the comments day in and day out. So it made me nervous. But at the end of the day, we talked about, like I said, this game's given me so much. And I'm not trying to design 100 golf courses, but to leave a footprint on the face of the earth. We're not going to be here forever. So to leave something on the earth that folks will play for many decades to come, and have your name on that has been a lot of fun. And I've got a great business partner, Mike Beebe, a golf course architect that I work with, and it's just been fun. We spent a lot of time in the car traveling through Florida, traveling north, talking a lot about golf and golf course architecture, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, listen, I don't want to speak for Justin, but if you need field testers for this new course you're developing in Bahamas, we will serve as tribute.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
want to throw that out there.
We're getting ready to break ground soon, so I'm excited. And yeah, we'll have you down. Come take it. It's a nice resort, one of the prettiest beaches in the entire world. They say top 10. It's called Treasure Key.
Sounds great. You are uniquely qualified to help us with this discussion because in the production meeting and the text back and forth with Justin and I, as the only guy who has two sub 60 rounds in PGA Tour history, 58 at the Travelers a few years ago and that 59 at Conway Farms, one was at a 72 and one was at a 70. So
71.
the number
71 and 7.
71, sorry, I apologize. So I apologize for that. So my issue is, what is a better score in your opinion? Is it a 58 on a 70 or a 59 on a 71?
David Duval and I had this conversation. He was telling me that his 59 was better because it was 13 under, and my 58 was only 12 under. David and I can have those conversations because we're really good friends. So we had fun with that one. The better round, if I were to be dead honest, was the 59 at Conway Farms.
I thought you'd say
It
that.
was quite a bit cooler, a little tougher scoring day. I think I cut the field that day by 6 or 7 shots. I think the next best score was 65. Scores were not particularly low that day. So that round of golf kind of sticks in my mind as quite amazing. The 58 though is fun. No one else has shot 58. It's not going to be long. That record won't hold for 39 years. I think Al Geiberger, when he shot his 59, I think it took 39 years before the 58 was scored. And so it's not going to last that long. The players are too good, too powerful, too skilled. And that 58, 57 is coming. I promise you, but it's a pretty cool feather in my cap. And as you said, to be able to say the only one that breaks 60 twice. I mean, for a guy that's known apparently as the grinder, on tough golf courses, U.S. Open setups, to fire 2 low numbers. I mean, I look back to early in my career, 3 of my first 4 wins were in Vegas at 25, 28, and 29 under. So I think I was comfortable. If you had to make birdies, I was comfortable going that route. If par was a good score at a U.S. Open, I was comfortable in kind of changing my game plan and changing the style of play. So cool feather in my cap and something I'm proud of.
The nerd will support your statement about the 59 being better. You beat the field average there, strokes gained total, by more than 12 and a half shots.
Okay.
And in your 58, I think it was like 10.9 or something, like a mere 10.9 beat the field average by.
Okay.
And
I didn't
to your
realize
point,
it was that great.
yeah, it feels like they're breaking 60 every week on the Corn Ferry Tour. I think someone shot 57 last year. So
Wow.
I think you're right. It's
Crazy.
coming. It's on its way.
It's coming.
Well, not only that, when we're having a discussion, Justin off the top of his head, yeah, and in the 58, he didn't even make a birdie on the par 5 13th, which was the easiest hole on the golf course. Like, there's nothing this guy doesn't know. There's nothing this guy doesn't know.
My favorite fact about that round is that he was like a 27 on the front, and then he didn't birdie the par 5 coming down the stretch.
I'll tell you, that tee shot at 13 drives me crazy, and I striped it. It was like my best tee shot of the day, and I got out there and my ball was in a divot. I had to lay up. That's why I probably would have had a 5-wood or a 4-iron into that green, and I had to lay up. I was disappointed, but that's how it goes.
Round ended up okay.
Yeah. See, the mere mortals that play this track are more concerned about the pond on the right and OB on the left at the train tracks. Okay.
Yeah,
if we hit the divot in the middle of the fairway, I'm okay with it.
That tee shot drives me crazy. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, since we're on this, if you could change one rule in golf, what would it be? Because mine is you should be able to get relief from a divot in the fairway. That is literally ground that has been repaired. We have a ground under repair rule in golf. You did your
Yeah.
job. You hit the fairway.
Yeah, the argument would be like the one that's half grown in. Is that
Yeah.
considered a divot, not a divot? I'm still trying to get. I'm so old school. I'm still trying to get over the tapping down the ball marks or the
Yeah.
spike marks. I mean,
It's visually jarring.
you watch the guys. You watch a golf professional on TV, and when they start to get nervous and they've got that 3-footer, and I mean, you can count like 10, 12 times they're down there tapping the ground. I mean, they're not building a trench to the hole because it's all sporadic, but I mean, it just, I don't know. I'm finally getting comfortable with the fact that I'm allowed to do that. So change any rule in golf. I'll tell you what I would do. I'm not going to be very popular for this, but I would reduce the size of the driver head.
Really?
Now, maybe not necessarily for the average golfer, but I would do that for the golf professional. I think it would
Because
well, because you could hit it all over the face right now, and it's pretty forgiving, and you don't lose a lot of distance. I'll tell you, like I play a mini driver in my bag for my 3-wood,
yeah.
and when I hit that mini good, it goes darn near just as far as my driver. I mean, it's less than 10 yards difference. But if I miss hit it, if I hit a little thin, I hit a little in the toe, I hit a little in the heel, I lose a bunch of yardage. And I think you got these young guys that are rearing back and swinging 110% at it. And you can kind of cover areas on the face and get a lot of forgiveness and a lot of distance. I just think it would show an extra skill set. I mean, they're extremely talented, don't get me wrong, but I think it would also limit guys swinging 110% at it all the time. They'd have to kind of pick and choose their spots, and maybe golf courses wouldn't have to quite be as long.
By the way, what you just said, I think, is what's going to make you a really good announcer. You just said, I don't care. This might not make me popular, but like take that approach. No, I'm serious. I mean it. Like, don't worry about what people think. Say what you feel and say what you mean, and you're going to kill it at this job.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
One piece of advice, if I could give you, as someone who spent a lot of time in his life in TV production compounds, player dining is much better than the TV meal area.
Yes, that is can confirm.
I've been the few times I've got to sneak into a player area versus the thousands of meals I've had under a big tent outside. If you've got the option, and I sense that you probably will have that ability.
Do I need to bring some snacks?
Go to the club.
Is that what you're telling me? Bring some snacks along?
The snacks should be okay. I'm just saying, like, if it's lunch,
the actual food,
choice,
food,
the good stuff. Use the,
I was expecting that Muirfield Village buffet. I'm not going to have that, huh? All right, dang.
How about a cold piece of chicken and something that once looked like a potato? I think that might be your best option.
I mean, a lot of PBJs.
Yeah, we know. We appreciate your time, so we won't keep you too long. I have two questions left for you. Number one, a lot of people may not know you were a huge Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Absolutely.
Where are you on Mike McCarthy and a potential Aaron Rodgers reunion in Pittsburgh this season?
It kind of looks inevitable, does it not? I know the original knee-jerk reaction from most Steeler fans. They felt like in hiring Mike McCarthy, you kind of hired Mike Tomlin, but he was 10 years older. I think he's got a good track record with young quarterbacks. I think we'll need to find out if Will Howard's going to be that next guy. He's got a good winning record. I don't expect to see him there for the next 10 or 15 years. Like you think of Steeler coaches at his age. I think he's 62, 63 years old. But I think, give him 6-7 years, get that team back on track. They've been toiling in that 9-8, 10-7, not winning a playoff game for so long. And, McCarthy's had a track record at Dallas, 12-5, 12-5, 12-5. He did it 3 years in a row. So I kind of like the hire. If it's kind of hard if Rodgers wants to come back for 1 year, it's kind of hard to tell him no, especially with McCarthy being the coach. But I'm also excited to kind of move forward. That we haven't had kind of a long-term QB since Ben was there. I think he spent 19 seasons with the Steelers, and grabbing a young guy that's kind of the franchise seems to be that's the key. And you're not going anywhere in the NFL without a quarterback. So I'm excited about kind of finding that next guy, and again, maybe identifying if Will Howard is that next guy.
Well, as a Steelers fan, you probably know this, but it's my favorite football, non-football stat of all time. Since 1970, we've had 6 popes, and Mike McCarthy will be the fourth Steelers head coach since 1970.
There you go.
They don't make change, is what we're trying to say.
They do not.
All right, but before we let you go, I don't want to have you go all Max home on me, but you're a guy that obviously had an unorthodox swing and you made it work for you. I am trying to get better at this game. And Duncan, can you pull up one of my hideous swings for him to look at
Oh
and tell me
boy,
what you
I've
think?
got it. You've seen my swing. You don't want me to actually look at yours, do you?
I do, actually. I do.
Go to Adam Scott. His looks pretty.
Yeah, his looks better. But any advice that you would give as someone who's still trying to get better at this game?
Okay.
There it
I'm gonna
is.
put glasses on for this here. Hold on now.
He's got a little Scotty
after
feet
that I'm
going.
55.
Yeah,
Get
but
some
it's
meters on.
I've got some Scotty going on because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Like, I'm not trying to be like Scotty. Here we go, Duncan. And action. That was on the 7th, by the way, hit the speed slot at Kapalua.
I didn't see it if I was supposed to. Where was it?
Oh, don't worry about it then. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, I
figure
didn't
that out
see
later.
it.
No.
It
It's
didn't
fine.
come up on my screen.
Inaugural
Hold on.
show, working out the kinks.
Yeah.
Uh,
Believe me, it's probably.
hold on. I got it now. I had to click
Okay.
over. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get this on a. Play it one more time for me.
There we go. Well, that helped, Duncan. There we go. You got it now?
My goodness.
This bit has gone on way too long anyway.
Well,
That bad?
no, you seem a little limited on the backswing. You kind of get
Correct.
The turn stops, the arms get up, and then you got that like step out to the left, the pivot. Like I think you were traveling. I think you lost your pivot foot, to be honest with you on that one.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. All right, we can stop that now. Thank you for enduring that. So to show appreciation for you doing that, we have one other picture we want to put up for you now. Duncan, I took this a few days ago in the clubhouse. Look at that guy.
There
Who's
you go.
that guy?
Absolutely.
The king of Kapalua right there.
Are you out at Kapalua right now?
Even as we speak.
I'm so jealous. I was wondering with the wooden oars in the back.
Oh yeah, we're here. I've divorced winter. We don't do winter anymore.
Sends me
So
videos of him hitting shots at Kapalua. I'm at my son's t-ball practice. It's 95
Sounds
degrees
good.
outside. Yeah,
Does
we
the
all make
Swami-
choices.
Does the Swami still spend time out there?
He's out here now. He comes after the bull, and we play a home and home, one at Kapalua and one at Kaanapali.
All right. Well, if you see him, you say hi to him for me. I miss Kapalua, and I definitely miss him. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Jim, we appreciate your time. Thanks for being with us, and congratulations on this new venture. I'm sure you'll kill it.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Hey, just a reminder, Golf Live with me, Trey Wingo, is live every Tuesday now at 4 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 o'clock Pacific and 11 a.m. Hawaiian. It's me and the great Justin Ray, who is the Tiger Woods of golf researchers, breaking down everything happening in golf each week across the globe. We'll also have guests, and we're reacting to your questions in real time. So if you want to actually be a part of the conversation instead of just watching clips later, join us live Tuesdays, 4 o'clock Eastern, Trey Wingo Golf on YouTube with the great Justin Ray. All right, welcome back to Golf Live. Trey Wingo here with Justin Ray. First of all, great to catch up with Jim Furyk, and I think he's going to do really well in the broadcast booth. But, again, just be honest, right? Like, I love the fact that he said, well, people won't like this. I'm like, yes, don't matter what people think. Be honest and make sure what you're doing is real and people will respect it.
Johnny Miller. I mean,
Yep.
Johnny made a lot of players mad over the years, and he's arguably the most memorable and celebrated golf analyst probably of my lifetime so far. So say what needs to be said, and that's a great topic that is at the forefront of a lot of golf fans and critics alike. All
right. Speaking of say what needs to be said, that perfect segue. It's like you're good at this, Justin. Obviously, the Live Golf Tour is back on schedule this week. One of their 14 events of the year. They're playing in Hong Kong. And recently, 8 DP World Tour players that now play on Live settled their differences basically with the DP World Tour, which allowed them to still compete on the DP World Tour and maintain their status on the Live Tour, which assures them that they will be in consideration for other things, including potential play at the next Ryder Cup at Adair Manor in 2027. 8 Live players paid their fines and put it to bed, and they have to play in 6 DP World Tour events. Jon Rahm was not one of those players. Jon Rahm decided that he did not think the stipulations that the DP World Tour put on uh, giving him access to both tours were fair. And he was asked about this uh, in a press conference before the Live event this weekend in Hong Kong. Take a listen to what he said.
I don't like what they're doing currently with the contract they're having us sign. I don't like the conditions. They're asking me to play a minimum of 6 events, and they dictate where 2 of those have to be, amongst other things that I don't agree with. If we just go based on that, I've been a dual member my whole career, PGA Tour and DP World Tour. Now, with Live Golf being accepted in the world rankings as part of the ecosystem, you could almost say 3 tour member, even though I'm suspended from the PGA Tour. But I've always been a dual member. Never once have I been asked for a release to play either one of those tours. We've never submitted a release, right? So why is it now that we need to be offering that and there's all these penalties? Now, while I understand why they're doing it, what's the problem, right? Given also the fact that 2 years ago, I was asked to appeal the fine so they could figure this out and sort it out. And I did, and we're running into...
He went on for a lot longer. Here's the problem I have with what John said, and Justin, I'd love to get your opinion on it. He's acting as if the relationship between Live Golf and the DP World Tour is the same as the relationship between the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour. And nothing could be farther from the truth. The PGA Tour and the DP World Tour have been together, basically co-joined for a long time, and are essentially in business together. Live Golf is the exact opposite of that. Live Golf, in fact, what I find somewhat ironic, karma-esque, coincidental, however you want to put it, Live Golf stipulates that there's not a single event on the Live Tour that a person who signed with Live can miss. You have to play all of them. And Jon Rahm's like, oh, okay, fine. I understand that. But when the DP World Tour, which, by the way, took a massive blow when a lot of those players left the DP World Tour to go to Live, he wants them to act like there should be no stipulation or penalty for that. I don't understand how he's trying to play both sides of the fence here.
In the second part of that quote or the clip, he mentions, they want me to play 6 events. He mentioned that earlier. They dictate where 2 of them are. And then he says the agreement originally was 4. And so you get to the point where you get to the end of the clip, you're like, oh, okay. Like, this is basically down the road. They're going to probably figure this out. But he already has, as you said, 14 tournaments etched in stone for his year, right? Throw in the 4 major championships. That's 18. And now you want to add 6 more defined, I guess 2 more defined weeks, but 6 more total weeks. You're already up to 24 weeks. I mean, he probably doesn't want to play more than 18 to 20 a year. That's usually the total for most elite players in a season at this point. I think at this point, it's a public negotiating tactic to me, where they want to get that number. He wants 4, they want 6. 3 months from now, they might settle on 5, and we pick only one of the defined, places where he plays is what the DP World Tour Championship or Wentworth, whatever that might be.
Well, what I find somewhat disingenuous about what John said is that I can find a clip when he was on No Laying Up, that podcast, where he said, yeah, players shouldn't be able to bounce back and forth. They should pick one or the other. And now he's saying, no, I want to be able to bounce back and forth at my own whim. Like, his own words kind of box him into a strange corner of trying to defend what he's doing now.
Yeah, and honestly, that history leads me to believe that this is more just public negotiation with the DP World Tour. So, I get your point 100%. I tend to think that this is not as a defining kind of quote sentence situation for him, and maybe he didn't word it as perfectly as he wanted to, but there is some contradictory statements there from what he said in the past, as you mentioned on No Laying Up and other things he said.
And it's just, look, I love John Rahm as a player. You came up with the greatest nickname of him, John Rahm, Destroyer of Worlds, when he was number one and won the Masters in 2023 after winning the U.S. Open in 2021 at Torrey Pines. I would love to see John Rahm. I'll be honest, I'd love to see John Rahm back on the PGA Tour and the DP World Tour full time. But it's hard to feel sorry when he's upset about the fines that other players like Thomas Detry and Tyrrell Hatton and Laurie Cantor and these guys have paid when he's making exponentially more money than they are, and they had no problem with the fines. And now you're getting a guy who, because we don't know what the contracts are, anywhere from 300 to 600 million is upset about the fine. It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell to a lot of people.
It leads me to believe that it's more about control. It's more about decision making, more about power of your own schedule, and maybe what that looks like moving forward. Is he talking to Liv about a next contract? What does the DP World Tour think about that relationship moving forward? He wants the player to be able to control the outcome more so. That's kind of what it looks like to me because, as it's been mentioned to me off the record, this fine would be no big deal for John Rahm to take care of.
Couch change.
I mean, yeah, it's about the control of his schedule and what that looks like moving forward to me.
And again, as my good friend Andrew Brandt, the former Packers president, used to say, deadline spur action, and we're nowhere near a deadline yet. So we'll see how this thing plays out going forward. Okay, and coming up in just a little bit, we're going to get to your questions, but we got some other things we want to talk about, including what's going on in the Tiger Woods Golf League. We are into the playoffs, and we've had some really interesting things happen over the weekend. So if you consider yourself more of an audio person, look, I totally get it. The Trey Wingo Network is now available on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, etc., wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen in the car, gym, on a walk, wherever you carve out that little space where you need to just get away from everything. Same conversations, just without the camera. Hey, subscribe across the platforms and share it with your family and friends. Follow the Trey Wingo Network. Back with you on Golf Live, Trey Wingo and Justin Ray. So we're into the playoffs. Justin, for those people that don't know, Justin is heavily involved in the TGL Tiger Golf League. Tell us some of the cooler things that you thought happened over the weekend as we get into the postseason run here.
So we're in our last stretch of the regular season, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 nights, 3 matches shaping up the postseason race. Sunday night, we had an unbelievable match between Jupiter and Boston. That's Tiger's team, which he's not playing, obviously, right now, recovering from injury, and Rory's team. Jupiter's season's on the line, 2 down with 2 to go. They win those 2 holes, force overtime against Boston for the 2nd year in a row. And if you haven't watched the TGL match and seen sudden death, it's basically a pitch shot closest to the hole, kind of like PKs in soccer, where it's best of 3. It comes down to the last shot, and Boston wins by like 3 inches, 4 inches. It was unbelievably close. Last night, Monday, LA locked up at one of the 4 playoff spots. New York had a chance to steal the match on the final hole. That was another exciting match. And then tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN, the Bay against Jupiter Links. Winner gets the last playoff spot. So it's been a really exciting week. The matches have been great. The energy in the building has been fantastic. I'm excited to see if the Bay can finish this comeback. They started the season 0-2, much like New York did a season ago when they made a charge into the playoffs and then eventually get into the SoFi Finals. We'll see if they can get in that playoff spot. Boston's going to be the top seed in the playoffs, but LA has 3, 4, and 5 in the world, and Tommy Fleetwood, Colin Morikawa, and Justin Rose. LA might be the team to beat here in season 2 of the playoffs. It's been a fun ride, and hopefully we get some more great matches coming down the stretch. Can't wait to be there in person at the SoFi Center for the playoffs. All
right. Speaking of Tiger Woods, there was also news this week. He's being I'm not sure what the award is, but it's the top amateur award is now being named in honor of Tiger Woods.
Yes, and absolutely fitting. You and I love to talk about the most unbreakable, craziest Tiger Woods records and numbers.
Yeah.
But winning 6 consecutive USGA amateur titles, junior, amateur, 6 straight years.
Nobody's ever done that. Nobody has ever done that. No golfer of any way, shape, or form has ever done that.
Correct. 36-0 in matches across that stretch. And a couple of the comebacks he had, including in the finals to win. Just, an unbelievable, unbreakable mark. And certifiably, to be honored by the USGA with that honor is really great. USGA championships won all time, the most ever. It's 9 for Tiger, 9 for Bob Jones. Those are the guys with the players with the 2 most ever. And fitting that Tiger is going to ascend to that kind of revered space where his name is part of the top amateur award that USGA hands out.
I don't think people truly appreciate how ridiculous that stat is, what you just said. Over a 6-year period, he didn't lose a single match play tournament. 36-0 in match play over a 6-year run. That that might be as impressive as his 142 straight cuts made, maybe even more so impressive.
Or winning a US Open by 15, or winning a Masters by 12, or
The old course, he won one of the old course in St. Andrews in 2000. I think he set the record there for lowest score as well. But I mean, like 36-0. And to your point, the comebacks to Trip Keeney, the first of his three U.S. amateurs at TPC. I think he was 4 down or 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
with the brim. I think he was 5 down at some point, and he just stormed his way back into it and closed it out. Where, of course, with a birdie on the 17th hole. Right.
I think
Where else?
I was 11 years old watching, and I
Yeah.
remember it being on either NBC or ESPN. Like,
I think it was ABC. It was Steve Melnick and
the
Brent
finals,
Brent
the
Merceberger.
U.S. Amateur, and they're talking about it on like World News Tonight, not
Yeah.
Sports Center, not Golf Central. Like Tom Brokaw's talking about it or whatever. Like it was a call. You knew it was different in that moment. Just the unbelievable ability and the story and everything, but the cultural flashpoint that was the beginning of Tiger's career.
Well, to that point, I remember watching ABC News in 1992 with Peter Jennings, and they threw to a piece about 16-year-old Eldrick Tiger Woods competing at the LA Open in 1992. By the way, the one event I'm sure he would have loved to have won once in his lifetime that has absolutely escaped him, which is now the Genesis, which is the one he's basically the host of going forward. Okay, so congratulations to Tiger on that, and congratulations on the TGL. We'll see how it plays out. Some really interesting things happened over the weekend on the LPGA Tour as well.
Right. Another big name gets a win. Hannah Green wins the HSBC championship. Now the LPGA and LET combined already, just a few events into the season, numbers 1, 2, 3, and 9 in the world have already rattled off wins. So some pretty impressive names getting into the winner's circle early. Pretty much the opposite of what happened last year, when I think of the first 26 events of the LPGA schedule, we didn't have a repeat winner. A more intriguing name on that list, though, is the woman who finished runner-up, Austin Kim, an American potential Solheim Cup player coming up, which obviously piques my interest. Finished runner-up at the Women's PGA Championship last year. She's currently leading the LPGA in driving distance. Absolutely sends it. Drives it longer than Nelly Korda. That doesn't happen very often in the women's game. So she's a really interesting power player that's going to fit on some of these major championship layouts this year. I mentioned she already had that great week at PGA Frisco last summer. So Austin Kim, a name to know in American women's golf moving forward.
All right, good stuff. Justin, what do you say we do this every week? Does that work for you?
Sounds great, buddy. Let's do it.
Yeah, thanks to everybody that watched. The numbers on X or Twitter have been really good, and also on YouTube. We appreciate your time. If you like what you see, make sure you tell your friends and tell your enemies too. I don't really care. We want to make you guys a part of the show going forward, so we're going to be taking your questions going forward on shows ahead. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube page, Trey Wingo and Trey Wingo Golf. Justin and I will have tons of content out there throughout the season. Our thanks to Jim Furyk for joining us on our inaugural show as he gets set to begin another phase of his golf career, working for Golf Channel and NBC over the next 2 weeks at Arnold's event, the Bay Hill Invitational, and also the Players Championship. For our producer, Duncan, for our executive lord of everything, Nita Sreenkanth, for Justin Ray, Jim Furyk, I'm Trey Wingo. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week on Golf Live.